There's one stock that is about to go up a lot, in my opinion. It's been going sideways for 3 months, and it's the biggest stock in the world, $4 trillion market cap, Nvidia, NVDA. Now is the time. I could have made a video in the past 2 months. Last month I didn't. I made it today. And let's take a look at why this stock looks like it's ready to go up and what they've got cooking, including their recent partnership that's been all over the news with OpenAI.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 So here is the chart, and if you zoom out on a weekly basis, yes, we did go sideways for about an entire year here, but right now we look like we're ready to break new highs. We don't always go sideways for a year. If we go back here we went sideways for about 2 months, okay? Yes, this was about 9 months. Now is the time to enter Nvidia, in my opinion. You have a pretty good down move followed by an up move, down move followed by a change of character up. You could say, oh, well, you draw a line there and it failed to break out. It's like, fine. Well, it held a higher low here, held a higher low here. And the way that we invest, you lose here, you stop out for $1 change, you know, you do that. Maybe you did that twice. Maybe you bought down here because you have some special vision, some foresight about what's going to happen. Fine, you've lost twice. All you need to do is get in at one time where you make $10, $20, $30 a share, and you more than make up for those little chop outs. You can see here, I got chopped out here, and then I got in here, and I got into a time where I sold pretty early, as you can see, but you know, you get chopped out and then you get in at the right time. So for everyone who's super tired of the charts, I don't blame you. Let's talk a little bit about what Nvidia is up to. We're not really going to talk about what they do because everyone knows that they're the GPU juggernaut. This is the recent news, though. They committed, I like that verb, $100 billion to OpenAI, because OpenAI is then gonna lease GPUs from Nvidia. I think that's the right word, lease them. I don't know that they're gonna buy them because they're probably gonna use them through Oracle's servers. So all this to say, you would say that it's a, you know, circle of money, sort of a I scratch your back, you scratch mine, except people are getting paid and they do have a product that's getting used, at least. I mean, I'm literally using the product right now that Nvidia invested in. So, you know, it's not totally financial engineering. In terms of risks, I don't think we have to worry about antitrust in the next week, okay? Yes, these are massive numbers that can raise some eyebrows, but in the current administration, it's very business friendly, right? So, and when we're talking about investing, we're talking about getting in for, you know, 3 to 5 days. You get maybe 5 to 10%. You sell some out, and then you keep a little more. And if it goes down, you sell more. But if you want to hold on, maybe you sell up here, or you sell over here. So that's the name of the game. There have been other times as well where, you know, here, I did buy here and I held for quite a lot, 20% or more. This is an ad. These are my first sells up here. This is another ad, actually, for being totally accurate. But the point is, you can see it's not like I'm just buying and then letting it go down on me and then holding, and then suddenly I sell and I made a bunch of money and I knew all along that Nvidia was going to come up. That's not what I do here. That's not what people who watch this channel do. We're not bag holders, or if we are, we were recovering. So, back to a little bit about what's going to come up for Nvidia. Maybe they're a monopoly. maybe OpenAI is the monopoly. Maybe there's not a lot of rivals. Maybe they're what is the word? The opposite of monopoly. It's like a simopoly, where they are the only buyer of power, for example, for some of these huge new AI-friendly power generators, data center creators. Talking about companies like, I don't know, CIFR, IREN, GEV, VST are the power generators. It's good to watch those tickers, and we can keep an eye on them just in general for general Nvidia hygiene. They mostly look pretty good. They look kind of like in a similar theme to Nvidia based on just what they look like visually here. IREN's pulling back a little bit at some point. I mean, it did have another big day today, but this is the biggest one, obviously, and the biggest one is also the safest. And it doesn't move as slow as some huge companies like, GE or even Boeing. So that's the chart. The levels are pretty clearly 185 is the all-time high. So that would be the level to break through or to test. And then you can risk pretty much where we're at right now. Maybe 180 is a whole dollar level. But I wouldn't get too worried about what exactly you're risking. Something like 182 if it breaks apart. Now, to satisfy folks who are still more interested in what exactly they're invested in, or if you don't use charts, we saw what happened to Intel when they were the recipient of this $5 billion right after the government just took this stake. Turns out Nvidia gets 4% of Intel immediately, and I guess they'll be able to offer Intel's servers based on Intel's architecture, Nvidia's Blackwell GPUs. It's basically a way to keep Intel alive. I mean, it could be a distraction just to make it look like Nvidia has competition. It doesn't really matter what exactly it was. What it shows is that Nvidia still has the Midas touch, because this is where we learned the government had taken a stake. And yeah, we did get a pop on the Nvidia investment, but we also got a follow-up pop. So the government taking a stake was relatively minor. It's like 20%. Certainly seemed like a lot at the time. But this is how Nvidia works. It's 50%. So it's like 20%, 2 times, 3 times, 20% more powerful a force than even the government. So, I'm laughing just because this is so scary, but also pretty awesome as an investor if you're on the right side of the move. Now, a couple challenges. The government could say, hey, no more. This is the Chinese government I'm talking about. No more partnership with Nvidia at all. And if they don't work on Intel, components that go into Nvidia's chips, well, that could be a problem for Nvidia. And even though Nvidia has made pains to comply, there's that. And then there is the new H-1B thing, but Amazon has 10,000 H-1B workers. Nvidia has fewer than that, so I don't think it's as big a deal for Nvidia. And then as far as, valuation rounds and all that, I don't think there's really that much alpha here, except to say, is there going to be some sort of scrutiny around Intel taking stakes in so many different companies? This revenue is insane. Graphics is actually pretty big. This is sort of the OG, Intel got so big because of the gaming. But data center division is about half of all revenue. And I suppose the other 50% is, a lot of it is probably selling GPUs to other companies that use them in their own data centers. So it's all pretty much data centers. Do you think these unnamed companies are kind of obvious? I mean, it's got to be like Meta and, Amazon or something. OpenAI, Meta, yeah. XAI takes huge shipments as well. Elon's company. So, it's a problem, I guess, that you only have 4 customers, and sometimes your customers invest, sometimes you invest in your customers and then they pay you. So it's very incestual, but when the customers that you have are the biggest companies in the world, it's not really a problem that you only have, a few. So all this to say, it's Nvidia, everyone still loves it. Sure, if there's export restrictions and they can't deal with China anymore, I think other companies in the semi space are going to have that challenge as well. So that's more particular. We'll see that in the market. Maybe we'll see that with the semi ETF, SOXL. But Nvidia looks great. AMD actually looks solid too. Is a good risk level to jump into. Some of these other companies, Broadcom, not great. And then little semi companies, CRDO, LRCX, you could get in, but it's just not as long a base. This is just safer because you can get in here and it looks like eventually this is going to go. It could go down a little bit, go back up and then go, but it's been going sideways for a while and went down on Q2 earnings like a lot of companies went down on Q2 earnings. Not so bad as the Trade Desk, example of a company that really went down on Q2 earnings, but a lot of these companies that dropped on Q2 earnings eventually bounced. Netflix sort of recovered, Spotify did recover, and then Shopify actually went up and held. Some of these companies, Meta went up and held. Reddit was the best earnings story of all of them in Q2. And you could say this is the best stock to buy right now. But, of course, when a company is so extended, 50% from this 200-day moving average, which is the moving average that everyone watches, goes all the way back to this big line here, all these buyers. You can see all this volume sort of near this moving average. It makes you more interested in a company that's a little less extended from moving average, only 30%. So that's sort of the technical reason. Those are some other companies that might be on the radar of other investors. And this is why Nvidia is super interesting right now, even though if you zoom way in on a 3-month chart, it looks like a chop fest. You can risk $1 or $2. Maybe you risk this level. You look for a lot of volume at a certain day, and then you pick that day and you pick the high, and maybe you risk that number because when you look out, there's going to be a lot of people who own because they bought it on that day. That's why there's all that volume. You can see all the volume at that level. So you sell if it goes below there, and you hold if it bounces off there and goes up, or if it just straight goes up, you just hold. Make 10, make $20 a share. Maybe you lose $1 if you get chopped out like I did over here, which happens all the time. Okay, that's a stock. That's the chart. That's a little bit about the fundamentals. If you like this sort of talk, head over to stockscommunity.com. Try it out for $25 for 7 days. See if you like it. It's a Discord. It's the same thing Wall Street Bets used. There's a lot of Discord is the biggest community platform. If you haven't heard of it, it's pretty good at all sorts of communities. So try it out. Head over there, and if you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit that so you get notified of the next video. I'll see you in the next one.
This is Sam Putnam.
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 This is Sam Putnam.